Peter, I want to talk about Doge. Give me your 30,000 foot on Doge. The left thinks that they've got us on this one. They think that cutting government waste to all sorts of, transgender initiatives in foreign countries is what Americans want right now. I think they're nuts. But they're trying to make it seem like Musk is infringing on people's privacy and getting private stuff. And it is essential for us to fund, trans Sesame Streets all over the world. I don't totally get their take, but do you feel like they've got anything here? And what's your personal opinion of how Doge is going so far?
I think Doge is terrific, and I think I'm very encouraged about where it seems to be heading. I think what you're seeing on the left is kind of a reaction mode because Trump's doing it. They're automatically against it. But there's also, I think, a deeper element here, Alex. I mean, we talk about, the waste and the abuse, which are, of course, huge components of this, transgenders in Guatemala, ridiculous expenditures here. But there's a deeper battle that's going on here because a lot of this money that flows through these grants and through these contracts are to the political class in Washington, D.C. It's a business model. You look at USAID and some of these government agencies, huge amounts of the contract money actually never goes to the developing world. It stays in the Washington Beltway to consultancies that are run by political operatives that help get people elected. So part of the pushback in Washington, D.C. is, I think, from the fact that wait a minute, this slush fund that we operated for all these years is being shut down or is being exposed. So that's part of the resistance. And that, to me, is the most valuable thing. Yes, are they buying pens and pencils for, $25 a piece? And that's waste? Of course. The deeper issue for me is the fact that this has been a tool of paying off political allies and campaign contributors with our money. It's a business model, and that's being exposed. That's the most valuable thing that's happening.
Yeah, this is exactly right. And this is why I'm completely obsessed with this Stacey Abrams NGO that started with $100 and somehow is had $100 in 2023 and somehow got $2 billion in 2024. Peter, I don't understand how this isn't just a monumental, earth-changing scandal. It feels like the sort of thing that if Andrew Breitbart was alive, he would have spent every day for 90 days just talking about this and only this until everyone got the picture. And I feel like we just moved on from it. I asked Lee Zeldin, who's the EPA administrator, about it because I guess it went through the EPA for this environmental fund about this on my Alex Marlowe show yesterday. And he told me he's working with the FBI and the DOJ to investigate. But I mean, who knows if we're going to get to the bottom of this? Did that one jump out at you as a bad one? Were there any lowlights for you thus far the Doge has uncovered?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a bad one. But here's the challenge we face, right? I mean, and this is how bad Washington, D.C. is. If you give a $2 billion government grant to an organization that had $1,000 that was just started up a couple of months before, that actually may not be illegal. That's the shocking thing, and that's the problem. So if we're looking for Stacey Abrams to go to jail over this, it's probably not going to happen because they know how these games are played, and there was probably technically no law that was violated. But what you're seeing is what I call legal graft. It's like the old Tammany Hall corruption. They do things within existing law. Nobody's going to go to jail, but it's absolutely as corrupt as something that is illegal. That's why it needs to be halted, and that's why it needs to be prevented from happening. So exposure and embarrassment is great, and we need to find out who the decision makers are and make sure they can't do it again. But we should probably not expect anybody to go to jail because it's probably not illegal. Remember, the people doing this are the people that write their own rules. So they're going to know what the rules are, and they're going to avoid doing something illegal.
Peter, this is such an important point that you made also, that I think this money is going to those AstroTurf town halls that we're seeing popping up. I think this is about electioneering. It's not just about handouts and money making. I think it's even deeper than that. It's about creating a permanent structure for these Democrats.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see that in the government grants. You also see that in the Department of Justice. They will go after Morgan Stanley and say that, you violated these laws. And then they will negotiate a settlement for $300 million. And we all think, oh, okay, Morgan Stanley's now sending $300 million to the U.S. Treasury. No, the Department of Justice under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration says, well, make a donation to these nonprofit organizations to rectify the problem, but these are activist groups that are being funded in this way. So you have this large infrastructure of entities and organizations. There's one called the International Democratic Institute that we're looking at that got $180 million in grants from the federal government.
Peter, I got to leave it there, but let me plug all your stuff. GAI, the Drill Down Podcast, all Peter's books are essential. We love Peter Schweitzer.